Chapter for 21, Auspicious Divine Beast Kirin. Chapter for 21, Auspicious Divine Beast Kirin. Shi Yu had already made a decision. Initially, Shi Yu's plan was to wait until the pets mastered Advanced Will, which was also its Overlord Will, before teaching them super skills. Teaching success rate high, it looked safer this way. But now, he changed his mind. Beast tamers were all fickle. Teaching success rate medium might not necessarily be impossible. Although, if the pet's willpower and mind weren't strong enough, forcefully accepting the super skill experience might cause its mind to lose its rationality and cause the teaching to fail. However, Shi Yu thought about it. Contracting Susu was the perfect move. When he added points, baby ginseng would heal him while Susu had the ability to cleanse the mind. Wasn't this a pet combo that allowed adding super skills? If he added some super skills to 11 and the others, with Susu cleansing their hearts beside him so that they could better withstand the baptism of super skills, the theoretical success rate would not be low. Moreover, according to Susu's feedback, the process of adding some super skills was very tempering to the recipient's will and heart. Perhaps he could increase their willpower by adding some super skills to them so they could strive to reach the Overlord's will. Baby ginseng, heal me. Susu, cleanse the pet. If it goes as smoothly as I have judged, I should be able to add free points freely soon. Shi Yu was still lying in the dormitory. After calculating the rewards, he continued to check his resources. At the moment, the resources on him, the Ruin Ring, Archaeology, Feeding Index, Awakening Mirror, the Ruins Crystal left behind by Emperor Shi, the Meteorite Fragment, and the Kirin Fossil. They were relatively precious. Apart from these, there were also 3 level 7 dragon element resources, the Ice Dragon Whiskers, the Tyrant Dragon's Teeth Fossil, and the Sea Dragon King's Scales. Although these looked pretty good previously, they were basically useless now. Shi Yu had already made preparations. When the time came, he would let Susu swallow the Ice Dragon Whiskers and the Sea Dragon King's Scales. As for the Tyrant Dragon's Teeth, he would leave them for the Phantom Beast mechanical experiment. There was also the Gemini Silver Armor gifted by the Ice Dragon. Because it was broken, although it was of legendary quality, it couldn't be said to be precious. When it was first obtained, it was still at level 6, but after using it a few times, the energy loss was very serious. It had already fallen to level 5, and the more it was used, the worse it became. Shi Yu planned to leave it to Kai Tong as a cultivation resource. Although it would accelerate the damage, Kai Tong's interlocking sword skill might be able to rely on the Gemini Silver Armor to approach expert proficiency. Apart from that, Shi Yu also discovered that there was a level 8 Water of Life, 10 level 7 Water of Life, 100 level 6 Water of Life, and a bottle of level 7 Dragon Blood in the ruins. After he returned from the Rainbow Islands, the Sea Dragon King saw that his hair was white and his face was weak and asked the Turtle Prime Minister to send them over. Shi Yu didn't use it for the time being, but after he continued adding points to super skills, he could use it with the nourishment of the ginseng baby. As for the level 7 Dragon Blood Essence, although it was also an extremely precious resource, because Shi Yu didn't need to train his physique, this didn't seem to be of much use to him. When the time came, he could sell it for other resources. The other daily consumption resources, such as 11 and the others' food and nutritional supplements, were replenished as they were consumed. Shi Yu didn't care. In the end, he looked at the mechanical tyrant dragon that was still jumping around outside the Fossil Research Institute. By the way, Shi Yu suddenly thought of something. It seemed that after Buggy broke through to the Monarch level, they had never studied the Kirin fossil together. Although the Dream Steel skill had long been upgraded to the maximum level by Shi Yu, these max-level skills actually couldn't be perfectly used with the commander rank strength of Buggy and the others. Just like Baby Ginseng's Time Fruit, if 11 and the others ate the Time Fruit it created when it was at the commander level, the side effects would be huge. If Baby Ginseng reached the totem level itself, there might not be any side effects. Just like an ordinary low-level skill, Fireball. Being used by transcendent-level pets would result in much different effects than if it were used by totem-level pets. End. Since Buggy had broken through, could it try to study the Kirin fossil again? Although there was still no progress in using the tyrant dragon fossil to study mechanical phantom beasts, this didn't stop Xiyu and the others from being curious about the secret of the Kirin fossil. After all, it was a fossil suspected to be a divine-level life form. If it could really enter the dream successfully, the mechanical beast would be secondary. The most important thing was to come into contact with the mythical era. Buggy! Xiyu shouted and entered the ruin space. At the Fossil Research Institute. Xiyu sat in front of the table, and Buggy landed on the table. Both parties stared at the Kirin horn fossil in front of them. The white fossil was very beautiful, like white jade. However, although it was called a Kirin horn fossil, it actually looked no different from a goat horn fossil. This was also normal, because in myths and legends, Kirin and divine dragons were totems formed by the characteristics of different races. Among them, it was said that the Kirin had the head of a sheep, the paws of a wolf, a body like an elk, a tail like a dragon's tail, and some dragon scales and horns. Of course, this was a myth and legend on Earth. On Blue Planet, Kirin was a mythical race even more mysterious than dragons and phoenixes. The looks recorded in various wild histories were also completely different from the Kirin described in Earth's myths. Xiyu gave up on imagining it. As for why this Kirin fossil was collected in the dragon god mystic realm, no one knew. She's so beautiful. She must have been a girl when she was alive, Xiyu judged. Chapter 22, Auspicious Divine Beast Kirin, 1. Chapter 22, Auspicious Divine Beast Kirin, 1. Woo, Buggy was silent. It was also very beautiful, but it was still a boy. The leader was also very cute and a boy. As for baby Ginseng, Buggy had been puzzled. Was there really a gender difference in the Ginseng race? Stop being narcissistic, Xiyu said. Buggy? Bah, this beast tamer. Hurry up and do business, Xiyu said. As soon as he finished speaking, Xiyu entered a meditative state. As for Buggy, it maintained a mental connection with Xiyu and activated its imagination domain, trying to steal the dream Kirin horn fossil. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. 10 minutes passed, but nothing happened. Heh heh. Xiyu opened his eyes and sighed. Woo woo. Buggy also opened its eyes and sighed. Why was this fossil still in seclusion? We can still continue trying. Xiyu didn't give up. Have a bite of the time fruit. Woo? Buggy was stunned and looked at Xiyu with tears in its eyes. It didn't have many time fruits left. Even baby Ginseng wasn't willing to make more for them. It's all right, it's all right. I'll get baby Ginseng to reimburse you later. This is all business, Xiyu said. Woo! Buggy was immediately relieved when it heard this. It took out a time fruit from its spatial pocket. Woo! Then, its huge body swallowed it in one bite. Crack! After biting the fruit and swallowing it, Buggy's aura began to climb steadily. It temporarily stepped into the Overlord domain and seized the opportunity to enter the dream-stealing state with Xiyu again. It used the full-strength dream-stealing skill. In the darkness, Xiyu locked onto the Kirin horn fossil through meditation. His forehead was covered in sweat. He didn't know if he could succeed this time. Woo, Buggy for the win! Time fruit for the win! But at this moment, he heard Buggy's praise for baby Ginseng. With a cry, under the dark meditation state, the Kirin horn fossil that Xiyu had locked onto began to suffuse a white halo. The light grew larger and larger, as if it wanted to envelop Xiyu and absorb him into another world, the fossil's dream world. Boom! Xiyu opened his eyes and appeared on the barren ground with Buggy. In the world here, the sky was covered in grey clouds. The ground was covered in dry dust, and it was a silent scene of the apocalypse. Under such a scene, soon, a beautiful and extremely handsome creature appeared in Xiyu and the others' eyes. Seeing this creature running over on the barren ground, Shiyu's eyes instantly widened. Could it be success? This was the owner of the Kirin horn fossil, the divine beast, the Wind Kirin. This creature had a deer-like body, but its body was lighter and thinner. On its white body, some green patterns condensed into cloud-like hair, reflecting the image of the wind. It was completely different from the pictures of the Kirin Shiyu had seen on Earth. It was already not bad if it was 10% similar. Compared to the Kirin portraits he had seen, it was more elegant, beautiful, and handsome. Its entire body was like the embodiment of the wind, and its head was even smaller and gentler. Every time it stepped on the ground, a light breeze lingered around it. The even more elegant green-blue silk-like hair on its head also fluttered with the wind. It was unlike when they entered the Tyrant Dragon fossil dream previously, where they were insta-killed by the irritable Tyrant Dragon. This wind Kirin that looked like a cub was filled with fear and uneasiness, as if it was running for its life and wanted to escape. Although it was a dream illusion, it seemed to have also seen Shiyu and Buggy. In its panic, it stepped on the breeze and didn't even think. Under Shiyu and Buggy's confused expressions, it flipped them onto its body and continued to escape, as if it wanted to save some lives in the face of some disaster. During this process, it was very difficult for Shiyu and Buggy to resist. This was because this dream was very strange. They felt that their strength had been sealed, and the surrounding natural energy was almost non-existent. Even at this moment, Shiyu and Buggy couldn't even speak. It was like sleep paralysis. Although it could think, it couldn't even break free from the dream and shake its body. Boom! Right on the heels of that, something unknown happened. The dream realm completely shattered. Shiyu and Buggy seemed to have been reborn. They left the fossil dream realm with sweat all over their faces and appeared in the real world again. At this moment, due to the side effects of the time fruit, Buggy was already completely exhausted. It lay helplessly on the table and slept. As for Shiyu, apart from cold sweat and a pale face with a weak expression, his mental state was not very good. He shook his head and looked at the Kirin horn fossil again. Isn't the Kirin an auspicious beast? Why did the surroundings look like an apocalypse land? Shiyu panted and wiped his sweat. In this world, auspicious beasts were also a thing. Success, he had finally entered a dream. After seeing the Wind Kirin's dream illusion in the dream, Shiyu was very happy. However, what concerned Shiyu more was the world and era background he was in at that time. That! Could it be the mythical era? After a long time, Buggy also recovered. It also looked weak. Compared to when it entered the Tyrant Dragon fossil Phantom, the side effects weren't this taxing. Can you replicate the Kirin Phantom just now? Shiyu asked. Woo, Buggy shook its head. It couldn't even move in the fossil dream just now. There was no way to carry out the next step of dream stealing and replicating its state. Chapter 23, Auspicious Divine Beast Kirin, 2. Chapter 23, Auspicious Divine Beast Kirin, 2. Rest, rest, and then come again, Shiyu said, unwilling to give up. At the same time, he called baby Ginseng over to replenish himself and Buggy. Buggy, Sigma, degree, underscore. Again. Of course. Buggy's face was covered in tears. It felt so tired. As Shiyu and Buggy studied the Kirin horn fossil with all their might, a day had already passed in the outside world. During this period, White Brook, who had been eliminated by Shiyu, turned her grief and indignation into motivation. She continued to guide the other team members in the team battle at the last minute and give them advice. Although she was very miserable in the individual competition, Ancient Capital University was at least first place. Not bad, the team battle next couldn't be too bad. Then, the National League continued, starting the next day's team battle. There were a total of 9 schools. Because it was a point system, it required each school to take turns fighting the other 8 schools. Therefore, there were a total of 36 big matches. This team battle lasted for a long time, and it would last for several days. During this process, the Gem Cat couldn't be bothered to watch anymore and slipped back to the ancient capital. As for Senior Panda, she still stayed at the scene and constantly replaced Shiyu to accept interviews. As for Shiyu himself, he told Principal Feng and Senior Panda that he had some insights and wanted to go for emergency training. After handing the interviews to them to handle, he devoted himself to researching the Kirin horn fossil with Buggy. In the eyes of outsiders, it was as if he had disappeared from the national competition. Isn't that enough? A few days later, Xiyu and Buggy had already tried entering and stealing dreams countless times. If they didn't have any results every time, they wouldn't be so hard-working. It was mainly because every time they entered a dream, they felt that their condition was better and they were constantly familiarizing themselves with that dream. Therefore, this was the reason why the two of them kept trying. After a few days, Xiyu and Buggy could already barely move in this fossil dream. Buggy could even barely steal and replicate the Wind Karin's dream illusion in the dream. Unfortunately, in the recent few times, he felt that something was lacking. Every time Buggy's replication progress reached 99%, it was suddenly interrupted and it couldn't replicate successfully. After Xiyu and the others tried countless times. With the help of Xiyu, Buggy finally made a breakthrough in surrounding the Tikarin horn fossil. With Buggy's current temporary overlord level strength, it couldn't materialize the illusion in the fossil dream out of thin air. However, relying on the Kirin horn fossil as the foundation for the illusion, placing it on the fossil and letting the fossil be the core of the illusion. This, Buggy could barely do at the moment. No matter what, it had successfully materialized. Buggy and Xiyu were instantly pleasantly surprised. At the same time, through the dream stealing, Buggy and Xiyu instantly knew the skill mastered by this Wind Karin through the dream connection. However, what puzzled Xiyu and Buggy was that they didn't know if the Wind Karin only knew these three skills or if the fossil had been from too long ago, causing the dream illusion to be incomplete. The illusion that Buggy tried its best to materialize only had 3 skill traces. Although it was a divine beast in myths, there were no so-called divine skills. There were only 3 super skills. Of course, in Shiyu's opinion, these 3 super skills were really impressive. Namely, turning misfortune into luck. Introduction: it's a wind element super skill. It can absorb skills that are dangerous to itself and double its power against the enemy. Named Wind Spirit Bead. Introduction: it's a wind element super skill. The Wind Spirit Bead can absorb and adapt to most attributes. It can also spread the effects of other attributes to the maximum through the power of the wind. Named Wind Blessing. Introduction: it's a super skill of the wind, time, and space elements. It can increase luck with the help of the wind of nature. There were no divine skills, but it was normal. It would be unscientific if Buggy could materialize a divine beast that could master divine skills. Even without a divine skill, the 3 skills brought by this Wind Karin Phantom were already very powerful. What the hell was this Wind Blessing? A 3-element skill like the Dragon of Imagination? And a space-time dual-element skill? This was too sick. Hoo. At the same time, as the green and white wind lingered around the Kirin horn fossil, the remaining dream illusion inside gradually revived under the stimulation of the external power. Soon, the appearance of the Kirin Phantom Xiyu and Buggy had seen in the dream materialized. Woo! But at this moment, Buggy was suddenly stunned, and its expression changed. Woo! It cried out nervously. After it conjured a fossil phantom through the Kirin horn fossil, it actually didn't have any control over the phantom. In the past, it had absolute control over the dream phantom of other creatures, but this time, its power seemed to be just a medium for the revival of the dream phantom of the Kirin horn fossil. The moment the phantom appeared, it broke its connection with the other party. What? Xiyu was also stunned. At the same time, the Wind Karin Phantom, which was not tall or even more than a meter tall, slowly opened its confused eyes. However, in the next moment, the phantom disappeared, as if the energy on its body was not enough for it to be born. In an instant, it turned into a breeze again, and its figure completely disappeared. The Kirin horn fossil at the core of the phantom fell to the ground again. This scene completely stunned Xiyu and Buggy. Then, the huge consumption made Xiyu and Buggy quickly sit on the ground and look at the Kirin horn fossil tiredly. Chapter 24, Auspicious Divine Beast Kirin, 3. Chapter 24, Auspicious Divine Beast Kirin, 3. This phantom. It's still an illusion and not a life form. Then, the problem is how to transform it into a life form and keep that wind blessing. Shiyu looked at Buggy, and Buggy also looked at Shiyu eagerly. Then, they looked at the Kirin fossil together. A skill to increase luck? It didn't sound like much, but how could time and space be weak? Shiyu instantly felt that the past few days had not been in vain. If he could replicate this skill and add points to the maximum level, how powerful would that be? Would it add a wind of luck to itself? If the enemy wanted to harm him from half a planet away, a meteorite could accidentally smash it to death. This was too fierce. In other words, if he added a wind of luck to 2 totem-level creatures, would it be possible for them, who were horrible at reproducing, to get the deed done instantly? With this, he could easily get on the good side of the totems. Also, if he was even luckier and had a 100% chance of listening to history, that would be even more perfect. I have to obtain this skill. Shiyu crawled up. Then, there was a problem. It was so difficult to modify the Tyrant Dragon Phantom into a mechanical life form. How could he modify this even more difficult-looking Kirin Phantom Revival into a mechanical life form that could inherit and release the original skill of the Phantom? Woo! Buggy asked what to do next. Shiyu didn't know either. Just as he got up, he continued to lie on the sofa like a salted fish and sighed. Let's do this first. The competition will end today. Let's go get the 100 transformation stone and mechanical materials first. It's still too tiring to study mechanical phantom beasts myself. It's too troublesome to find other legendary mechanical big shots to help. After all, it's not anything important. We don't have time to invest all our energy in this. When the time comes, it won't be good for us to slack off when others work. Suddenly, Shiyu was stunned. Wait a minute. Others were working, but he was lazing around? He realized that his previous train of thought was completely wrong. Why did he have to directly use illusions to create machinery? Why did it have to be done in one go? Even Jiao Xian's ultimate holy dragon beast wasn't an overlord race when it was created, right? It was modified and upgraded step by step. This was originally extremely ridiculous. It was something that created a new field in mechanical research. Even those legendary mechanics might not necessarily be able to do it with their mechanical knowledge. Moreover, he was a mechanical noob. Find a big boss to guide him. Soon, Shiyu thought of this method, but this wasn't a big boss in the traditional sense. Instead, he would create a big boss himself. Mechanical lives were divided into battle-type machines, support-type machines, and research-type machines. Most machines had the ability to learn and grow on their own. The so-called race level could also be increased through upgrading the day after tomorrow. There was no need for him to pursue the mechanical beast from the start. What if he contracted a research-type mechanical pet and filled its research ability, learning ability, creation ability, and mechanical knowledge through the skill index to the Dao proficiency level? Then, he would let it study how to transform itself into a mechanical phantom beast with a divine beast template? Why did he have to study it himself? Wouldn't it be easier to squeeze his pets dry? At this moment, Shiyu's thoughts instantly cleared. The pressure on him was completely gone. I can even contract the most ordinary research-type mechanical life form. Then, by maxing out its research ability and letting it upgrade itself, I'll just increase points and pay for the materials. At that time, researching mechanical phantom beasts will be enough with mechanical pets and bugs. I can slack off. As long as I nurture my pet into a research-type big boss, a beast tamer, will be equivalent to a big boss. At the side, Buggy's gaze was filled with horror as it listened to Shiyu's muttering. Damn it, what level of capitalist are you? Chapter for 25, 100 Transformation Stone Machinery. Chapter for 25, 100 Transformation Stone Machinery. That day, the National League ended. In this National League, the national champion of the individual competition was taken by Shiyu. As a result, Shiyu's name received widespread discussion. And the champion of the team battle was taken by Demon Capital University. Imperial Capital University's second place was very miserable. Not only was it not the champion in the individual battle, but the team was also not. Of course, in the team battle, Ancient Capital University was even worse. It was ranked 7th, which was 3rd from the bottom. It verified that the strong were really strong, and the weak were really weak. However, in the National League next year, the audience had reason to believe that the overall results of Ancient Capital University would increase. At least, the education funds of Ancient Capital University would definitely not be small next year. With money, the school could invest more resources in the students. The competition should be over at this time. Shiyu came out of the room listlessly. At this moment, his mind was filled with mechanical pets. He came out at the right time. Principal Feng happened to rush over from the arena. Following him was a woman in a black trench coat. "Are you done?" From afar, the old man asked with a smile. He had been very happy these past 2 days. Although the team battle results of Ancient Capital University were as lousy as ever, their individual competition results this year were strong. Apart from Lu Qingyi's batch of Ancient Capital University students who were lucky enough to get 2nd place, they had never entered the top 5 in the past 10 years. This time, it took off completely and directly took 1st place with an absolute advantage. "I'm done," Shiyu replied with a smile. "Legend Xiao." Then, Shiyu greeted the lady beside Principal Feng. This person was the judge of this competition, the legendary mechanic Xiao Shuang of the 4th Bureau. "Yes." Xiao Shuang saw Shiyu and said, "You don't look very good. The competition has ended for so long, haven't you rested yet?" So, Shiyu / that shattered Jiao Xian's mecha in the National League also had huge side effects. Xiao Shuang was silent. Indeed, after they finished cutting, they seemed to have eaten a pile of supplements. "Ah." Shiyu shook his head. "Really?" He had clearly just finished eating baby ginseng supplements. Did he look very weak? Baby ginseng had become weaker. Or had he become stronger? Perhaps. "We'll immediately carry out other training after the competition," Shiyu said. Forget it, so be it. As long as he didn't feel anything. The weak state of others was 1 to 100, while his was 110,000. It was different. Legend Xiao Shuang nodded. A genius was indeed extraordinary. Cough. Principal Feng didn't sense anything unusual about Shiyu. The old man said, "The competition is over. Legend Xiao Shuang specially came over to distribute the prizes to you personally. There would be an award ceremony tonight. However, that trophy that was only given as a symbol of honor was not worth much. What was really valuable was still the money and physical rewards distributed by the competition authorities. The other contestants might have to register themselves, but on Shiyu's side, Legend Xiao Shuang chose to personally distribute it. Most importantly, she wanted to come into contact with Shiyu personally. Previously, she had only seen it in the video or from afar. She still wanted to observe this abnormal young beast tamer up close. Outstanding beast tamers were always very attractive. There are a total of 3 prizes. Legend Xiao Shuang said, rewards card, space crystal, as well as the wind element 100 transformation stone and the accompanying basic mechanical materials. As soon as she finished speaking, a white light flashed in front of her. It was unknown if it was because of the ruined space or other special spatial equipment, but a large white suitcase-shaped box immediately appeared between Shiyu and her. On the big box was a wooden box the size of a photo frame. Apart from that, it was a black card that appeared out of thin air in Legend Xiao Shuang's hand. She first handed the bonus card to Shiyu and introduced, the wooden box contains the space crystal stone. As for the white mechanical box, it contains the 100 transformation stone, high-level intelligence chip, and various basic materials for the adaptability device. You can use the space crystal for your own cultivation. As for these mechanical materials, they are still considered complete. With the existing materials, you can synthesize a mechanical life form of a high-level monarch race. If you have any ideas, I can help you. Of course, the Mechanical College of Ancient Capital University can also do it, Xiao Shuang said. Shiyu should know these things. After all, the rewards of the National League had been introduced in sufficient detail when it was announced. Although these were all prepared for Gao Shen, they definitely couldn't say it out loud when it was announced. Therefore, what was publicized was a set of top-notch mechanical materials that could be assembled into a high-level monarch race mechanical life form. They were respectively made of the 100 transformation stone, wind, high-level intelligence chip, and adaptability device. Among them, the wind element 100 transformation stone determined the race, attributes, and core abilities of the mechanical life form. Under normal circumstances, mechanical lives created with the 100 transformation stone as the core would have two skills. One was high level, while the other was super level. High level skills were the 100 transformations of the mechanic class. It was a very rare mechanic skill, mainly appearing on the 100 transformation stone. 100 transformations was also divided into two abilities, decomposition and combination. The effect was roughly that decomposition could allow a 100 transformation stone to break into countless 100 transformation stones. It was similar to the elementalization of elemental creatures or a clone, but it had a physical body. Its main body directly divided, not created out of thin air. As for combination, it was the decomposition of the body parts that could be perfectly combined again. The relationship between the two was similar to shrinking and enlarging in multiplication. The connection was very deep. Chapter for 26, 100 Transformation Stone Machinery, 1. Chapter for 26, 100 Transformation Stone Machinery, 1. Through the decomposition combination, the 100 transformation stone could realize its 100 transformations ability. As long as the level of these two skills was high enough, they could transform into anything. If a 100 transformation stone in the form of a Rubik's Cube wanted to become a triangle, it might require entry-level 100 transformations. But if it wanted to go from a Rubik's Cube to a complicated fighter plane and mecha, it might have to use skills with higher proficiency. Moreover, just the skill level was not enough. After all, the 100 transformations only determined its appearance. If it wanted the accompanying ability, it still had to use the mechanical life form in the 100 transformations along with other mechanical equipment to complete the transformation to increase strength. Therefore, although the 100 transformation stone was a top-notch pet very suitable for newbie mechanics, it still needed a certain level of mechanical proficiency to help the 100 transformation stone create different mechanical forms. As for super skills, they were elemental control with corresponding attributes. The wind element 100 transformation stone was wind element control, a very adaptable wind element skill. Similar to water elemental control and plant control, it was a high-level skill for a bunch of basic wind skills. If the 100 transformation stone was the body of a mechanical life form, then the smart chip was the brain of a mechanical life form. In the beginning, mechanical lives could only be created by beast tamers with awakening talent. However, with the birth of that smart chip, even ordinary people could rely on the smart chip to create a mechanical life form with intelligence and the ability to think for themselves. It was the most important part of a mechanical life form, and it concerned whether a mechanical life form could be called life. At the moment, the market was divided into ordinary intelligence chip, high-level intelligence chip, and top-notch intelligence chip. The smart chip determined the talent of a mechanical life, which was to learn, understand, and calculate abilities. Ordinary smart chips could give mechanical lives a basic intelligence. As for high-level smart chips, they could give mechanical life high-level skills, high-level intelligence. Of course, there were also low-level intelligence skills that could only carry out fixed procedures, but those were prepared for special machines, such as forbidden machines. Among the rewards of this National League, the only mechanical materials accompanying the 100 transformation stone were high-level smart chips. This was very normal. This was because top-notch intelligence chips couldn't be directly created. They were upgraded later. Moreover, every top-notch intelligence was very difficult to replicate. It was the result of the joint efforts of a legendary mechanic and his mechanical pet and the crystallization of intelligence. It was a super ability, and it was very rare. As for the adaptability device, it allowed the 100 transformation stone, the smart chip, and other mechanical materials to quickly adapt to the device that could be perfectly assembled. Although there were only 3 types of mechanical materials, they could coincidentally be assembled into a mechanical life form, and it was 100 transformations mechanical life form with extremely high malleability. This was the champion prize publicized in the National League. For most beast tamers, it still had a very fatal attraction. Xiao Shuang looked at Shi Yu. However, she felt that Shi Yu shouldn't be interested. After all, Shi Yu had 5 overlord species pets. Unlike other contestants, his horizons were definitely very high. Even if he contracted a new pet, there was no need to be interested in the mechanic class with extremely high requirements for professional knowledge. It wasn't enough for the beast tamer to worry about. Some beast tamers without mechanical knowledge, but with good talent, potential and ambition, would definitely not choose mechanical lives. Especially complicated mechanical lives. The reason was very simple. Maintenance was too troublesome, leveling up was too troublesome, and everything was troublesome. Thank you. Shi Yu nodded and said, I remember that Legend Srao's trump card is the super body created with the 100 transformation stone as the core, right? Shi Yu suddenly looked at Legend Xiao Shuang. Ooh? If nothing goes wrong, I should also create a mechanical life contract with the 100 transformation stone as the core. I wonder, before that, can I take a look at your mecha? Xiao Shuang was stunned. Wait, what did he just say? He really wanted to use this 100 transformation stone to create a mechanical life contract. No kidding? She quickly looked at Principal Feng. It meant that Shi Yu's previous pets, the iron-eating beast, the butterfly of imagination, the ginseng baby, the sword spirit, and the water slime, were all very regular pets. Was the 6th one suddenly contracting a mechanical life form for real? Nurturing mechanical lives was different from nurturing animals, plants and elements. The professional knowledge needed was huge. This. Principal Feng smiled bitterly beside him. To be honest, he didn't recommend it either. There were usually 2 types of people who contracted mechanical lives. 1, there was really no other choice. Buying a mechanical life form with pretty good strength wasn't for ambition. The tamer wouldn't expect to rely on the mechanic class to climb to the highest peak, but he just had to make a living for the time being. Upgrading and repairing depended on spending money to find a mechanic. 2, the tamer was a mechanic with very strong professionalism. He had the ability to modify, upgrade, assemble, and repair mechanical lives himself. He didn't know if Shi Yu was the former, but it definitely wasn't the latter. However, Shi Yu just wanted to contract it. It wasn't like Principal Feng didn't know this. It wasn't the first time he had heard Shi Yu nag about wanting to contract a handsome mechanical life form. He was also very helpless about this playful thought. Chapter for 27, 100 Transformation Stone Machinery, 2. Chapter for 27, 100 Transformation Stone Machinery, 2. Can I, Legend Xiao? Shi Yu still looked at Legend Xiao Shuang eagerly. Are you really planning to contract a mechanical life form? Although Legend Xiao Shuang believed that mechanics were the strongest, that was in the hands of mechanics. If someone who didn't know mechanical knowledge contracted a mechanical life form, they would definitely go astray. Although it wasn't too late to learn mechanical knowledge at Shi Yu's age, if it were anyone else with a high-level monarch mechanical life form, she would be very supportive of the other party entering the mechanical domain. However, the problem was that Shi Yu, this beast, already had 5 overlord species pets. Why was he still thinking about a monarch species machinery? Even if the 100 transformations machine was extremely malleable, it wasn't that easy to upgrade it to an overlord race. Because her pet used the 100 transformation stone as the core, she knew very well. I haven't made a decision yet, so I want to see your overlord body, Demon God Blackwing. As Shi Yu finished speaking, Legend Xiao Shuang fell silent. After a long silence, she said, all right. She didn't care anymore. In any case, she wasn't familiar with Shi Yu. She would leave this to Principal Feng to persuade. Legend Xiao Shuang sighed and stretched out her hand. A cube prop that looked like a black Rubik's Cube immediately appeared in her hand. Then, the black Rubik's Cube flew away on its own, splitting into even smaller black cubes that filled the sky and assembling itself in the sky. In the blink of an eye, countless black Rubik's Cube formed a super-humanoid body more than 10 meters tall. It was filled with a black rock texture and had huge rock wings. This is the Black Wing Demon God. What do you want to see? After Xiao Shuang summoned the mecha, she asked Shiyu. This super mecha that had mastered dark, mechanic, and spatial powerful attributes was her proudest creation. Can I touch it? Shiyu looked at the Black Wing Demon God, who was 100 times more handsome than Dean Hao's purple electric mecha, and said with stars in his eyes. Black Wing Demon God. Xiao Shuang nodded and said, touch it. She could tell that Shiyu was the same as the mechanical men in Star Capital University. He couldn't move when he saw mechas, even more so than when he saw beauties. Such a guy should be sent to Star Capital University. It was a pity to go to Ancient Capital University. Shiyu quickly arrived beside the Black Wing Demon God mecha and asked, Sister Xiao Shuang, is Senior Black Wing Demon God a high-level intelligence or a top-notch intelligence? Legend Xiao Shuang said indifferently, top-notch intelligence. Although the 100 Transformation Stone is known as the easiest mechanical material to control, in fact, the complicated 100 Transformation Stone requires extremely professional mechanical knowledge and extremely high computational ability of the mechanical life form to perfectly display racial abilities. If you really treat the 100 Transformation Stone as a newbie mechanical material, you're wrong. The Black Wing Demon God nodded proudly. To be able to instantly assemble a huge mecha with the various mechanical equipment in its body through countless fragments, its computing power was not to be underestimated. Shiyu was surprised and asked, how many variations are there after the combination? Black Wing Demon God? Xiao Shuang and Principal Feng? Replication successful. Name Divine Net. Attributes, Mechanic, Spirit. Level, Super Level. Introduction. It can split multiple intelligent brains to form a complicated neural network system to have computing, analysis, and learning abilities that exceed supercomputers. Shiyu's heart stopped. Skill Index, forever amazing. However, super skills, damn it, could a newbie machine learn these? Chapter 28, Returning to the Ancient Capital. Chapter 28, Returning to the Ancient Capital. After Shiyu successfully replicated the Divine Net skill, he glanced at the Black Wing Demon God mecha. This divine network was undoubtedly a top-notch intelligence system. It should be an exclusive skill researched by Legend Xiao Shuang that combined the racial characteristics of the 100 Transformation Stone body. With the skill, Shiyu glanced at the mecha. Teaching success rate, high. Eh? Shiyu was stunned. It actually had the will of an overlord? Impressive. But then again, how should the will of mechanical life be judged? He had really never paid attention to the level of the mechanical life form's will before. Should he start from the lowest, or would the level of willpower be different according to the level of the smart chip and the initial setting? Unlike other lives that were born blank. Some mechanical lives were not actually blank when they were born. Most mechanical lives would have some settings added before they were created. For example, there were battle and protective machines set as Protect Master. For example, a mechanical maid with the setting of Only Love Master. There was also the research-type machine with the settings Study Constantly. These settings were equivalent to the dreams of mechanical lives. They were written by the creator. Shiyu felt that although the level of the will of this mechanical life form that could be written down in the initial settings wouldn't be very high, it probably couldn't be low either. After all, a human could casually change his dream. If he was lazy, he could choose to do nothing. However, with a fixed mechanical life form, its execution in this aspect shouldn't be weak. This meant that its willpower shouldn't be bad. Although it was unrealistic to expect a cleaner robot to explode in power, as long as it still had energy and wasn't damaged, it wouldn't go on strike for no reason. In some positions, it was too common to see a mechanical life that held their post for decades. Although it's a battle-type machine, it's still a top-notch intelligence. Your question is too simple, Legend Xiao Shuang said calmly. Her words interrupted Shiyu, who was in deep thought. Shiyu was slightly stunned. He smiled and said, I was just asking. Asked something useful, Principal Feng said. Legend Xiao Shuang is the new generation mechanic with the greatest potential in the mechanical field. Generally speaking, top-notch intelligence only appears on research-type machines, but Legend Xiao Shuang managed to successfully upgrade battle-type machines to top-notch intelligence. This is unique. Principal Feng sighed. If you have any questions, quickly ask Legend Xiao. Principal Feng didn't think that he could persuade Shiyu not to contract a mechanical pet. Since he couldn't persuade him, he would try to let Shiyu take fewer detours. Is it very difficult for battle-type machines to have top-notch intelligence? Shiyu asked. Legend Xiao Shuang said, it's very difficult, but it's not impossible. You can treat top-notch intelligence as a super skill. Mechanical lives are actually the same as other pets. The principle of them being unrefined is also applicable to them. After all, the capacity of the body is limited. If it mainly develops battle abilities, it will cause other restrictions, and vice versa. Then your Black-Winged Demon God, Shiyu asked. Its top-notch intelligence is only used to assist in battle. Although my Black-Winged Demon God has top-notch intelligence, if it's converted to the proficiency of super skills, it's only about the proficient level. It hasn't even reached the expert level. Its main leveling path is still the battle direction, so its battle-type super skills are upgraded relatively smoothly. They have all reached perfect proficiency. So if you really want to contract a mechanical life form, my suggestion is also to specialize in one direction to level up, be it battle, support, or research type. It's like a fighter jet. Its own function should be to gallop in the sky and constantly strengthen its flying and battle ability. A research-type index should mainly develop intelligence, not be relied on to fight. Although the mechanical lives of us legendary beast tamers are involved in various aspects of life, they're not completely proficient. It's just to support our main abilities. After all, the decomposition combination of the 100 transformation stone indeed requires a huge amount of computational power. Shiyu nodded. In the end, the energy of mechanical lives was limited. They couldn't take care of all their abilities. Just like Zhong Xian's suggestion back then, just specialize in one super skill. Don't invest too much energy in the other skills. It was the same principle. Shiyu understood. Index, increase points. Combat skills and intelligence skills were all maxed out. If we use the 100 transformation stone as the core to create mechanical lives, we can actually choose battle-type machines and research-type machines. The special decomposition and combination structure allows them to be qualified for many missions. As for which one you major in the future, that's up to you. Legend Xiao Shuang finished. As Shiyu also had achievements in feeding and archaeology, it wasn't impossible for him to contract a research-type machine as a support. Alright, is there anything else you want to ask? Yes. A day later. Ancient Capital. After the National League completely ended, the main group of Ancient Capital University returned to Ancient Capital. The award ceremony was nothing new. Although Shiyu was the champion, he had slipped past pretty much the whole situation the whole time and his mind was on his mechanical pet. However, from Legend Xiao Shuang, he replicated 3 useful skills. The first was the top-notch intelligence system skill Divine Net. This was a super skill. Chapter for 29, Returning to the Ancient Capital, 1. Chapter for 29, Returning to the Ancient Capital, 1. There was also the high-level mechanical fusion skill Load. This skill was similar to Possession and Fusion Talent. It was a move that allowed machinery and beast tamers to become one. As well as the high-level skill of both mechanical and spatial elements, Machinery Space. The mechanical space was a skill similar to Buggy's Spatial Pocket. It could also open an independent space in the body. The reason why Legend Xiao Shuang's 100 transformation stone could transform so smoothly and directly change from a Rubik's Cube to a mecha was because its other mechanical equipment were all stored in the mechanical space. Damn it! Can't Senius Maiden give more effort when creating equipment? After returning to Ancient Capital University, Shiyu sighed. Last night, he tried to awaken the high-level intelligence chip into a transcendent life form. In the end, it failed. After careful investigation, Shiyu realized that even if it didn't involve other mechanical materials, the high-level intelligence chip had simply awakened into a mechanical life chip. Its race level was also a commander race, a top-notch research-type mechanical core. This was very annoying. The awakening mirror couldn't be used again. After all, this thing could only awaken the most basic transcendent race. In other words, even though he had obtained a high-level smart chip, he still couldn't directly awaken with the awakening mirror. Of course, if he went to the ancient capital mechanical college to find other mechanics to help, he could still awaken it. The so-called high-level smart chip was actually a transparent glass the size of a cell phone screen. It was not ordinary glass, but a special substance. Mechanics also accidentally discovered this substance in nature. It had been specially modified. After being shone on by special rays, it could give birth to intelligence and could perfectly match most mechanical materials. It was the core of mainstream mechanical life today. Special rays that awaken smart chips could be found in the Mechanical College of Ancient Capital University. Therefore, Legend Xiao Shuang said that the Mechanical College of Ancient Capital University had the ability to help Shiyu use these materials to create a high-level monarch race at mechanical life. Why are you frowning? There's a huge harvest this time. After getting off the plane, White Brook patted Shiyu's shoulder. At the side, Lin Xiaozhu smiled and said, resources are probably never enough. The more money there is, the more high-end the things you want. The less money you'll feel is enough. Lin Xiaozhu, who had accumulated the evolution materials of the iron-eating beast for so long, felt it was very relatable. Principal Feng said, I reckon he's worried about how to use the 100 transformation stone. Shiyu looked up. Principal Feng and Senior Lin understand me better. Senior Bai can't. White Brook. What the hell? Right on the heels of that, the other teachers and students also came down. Shiyu waved at Principal Feng and the others and said, I won't be going to the celebration banquet tonight. There are some other things. Just as he arrived at the ancient capital, Shiyu slipped away. He planned to go to the Mechanical College and use the Mechanical Research Institute there to undergo the initial awakening of mechanical lives. The restrictions of the awakening mirror were still too great, and its ability was still too weak. As a mechanical noob, he didn't feel good using it at all. Shiyu didn't mind if it absorbed more stamina, but it was too much to restrict its awakening level. In the initial stage, it was better to use the modern method to awaken. After he cultivated his mechanical pet into a mechanical big boss, he could let it use the awakening mirror to upgrade itself. Woo! After Shiyu left, he directly summoned Buggy and planned to let it bring him to the Mechanical College. However, Shiyu suddenly thought of something and frowned. Wait, let's go to the resource bank first. Shiyu heard that the Gem Cat had also gone to the National League. However, he didn't even see it. Shiyu had reason to suspect that the Gem Cat was hiding from him and didn't want to give him resources. Let's settle this first. Buggy was stunned and expressed its understanding. Soon. In the resource area, Shiyu's figure appeared. At the same time, in Ancient Capital University, the sleeping Gem Cat shuddered and woke up from its nightmare. It immediately searched for the source. In the next moment, it teleported in front of Shiyu and the others who had returned to Ancient Capital University. It bared its fangs and brandished its claws, afraid that this guy would directly empty the resource bank. Wait, don't move. The Gem Cat appeared and waved its claws. Hey, are you a clone or your main body today? Shiyu said with a chuckle. Main body? The cat's expression darkened. Teacher Ying, when are you going to give me the resources you promised previously, or Shiyu said. The Gem Cat looked conflicted. It had just broken through and was in the midst of joy, so it casually agreed. But later on, it felt a little reluctant. These days, it had been thinking of ways to remedy it. How about we change our train of thought? The Gem Cat looked up and grinned. Unfortunately, it really found one. Who? The collector value of my lousy gems is greater than their practical value. It's useless even if I give them to you. It's also very troublesome to sell them, right? One legendary resource. I'll keep my collection, but I'll get you a legendary resource. How about that? The gem cat said fiercely. Shiyu was stunned. Buggy was also shocked. Are you serious? The collections of the gem cat were worth less than legendary resources, right? The lowest value of legendary resources was also 10 billion. Isn't this because I have feelings for these gems? The gem cat said with tears in its eyes. Among them, there's also a birthday gift from the late Electric Rat and other friends. Woo 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 woo. Shiyu, stop, stop, stop. Legendary level resource, what's going on? Think about it. The gem cat analyzed for Shiyu. You helped Ancient Capital University get first place in the competition. Ancient Capital University will definitely give you a reward, right? Shiyu nodded. Apart from that, you've made indelible contributions in archaeology, feeding, and helping me break through, right? Shiyu nodded again. You don't have a use for anything else either. Then, it's not too much for the school to reward you with a legendary resource, right? The gem cat said. Shiyu was stunned. Buggy was also stunned. Disaster was approaching. At this moment, Shiyu naturally felt that it wasn't too much. It was even better if there were two. However, it was already stingy and slow to apply for legendary level resources from the association. It had yet to be approved, and the size of Ancient Capital University was even poorer than the Beast Tamer Association. Could a legendary item even be taken out? Although Ancient Capital University is poor, it still has 1 or 2 legendary resources. It's the school's trump card. The legendary resource I used to break through back then was bought from Ancient Capital University. Although the breakthrough failed, it's still a genuine legendary resource. It's definitely a little difficult for you to apply alone. Even if Principal Feng agrees, he can't make the decision alone. However, don't you have me? I've broken through to the totem level now. At that time, when the approval comes, I'll also support you. I guarantee that it's another legendary resource. When I was in Demon Capital, I've already made an application to Principal Feng. How is it? The gem cat said. I guarantee that you can obtain a legendary level resource. Then, my gems can be left alone, sob. Shiyu fell into deep thought. It wasn't a loss. In the future, there would be plenty of places to squeeze the cat dry. It was better not to push it too hard. Deal! The gem cat heaved a sigh of relief. Next, it would use the status as a new totem to help Shiyu snatch the legendary resource. In short, it was good that the gems could be kept. This way, there are 2, at the same time, Shiyu muttered in his heart. There were a total of 2 legendary resources from the Dong Huang Association and Ancient Capital University. Then it's decided happily. Is there anything else? The gem cat felt pretty good again. Well, I've already promised you this kind of thing. Then, it's not too much to help me, right? The gem cat? It suddenly had a bad feeling. What is it? It's nothing. I'll just bring Kai Tong and Susu to the undead battlefield to train sometime in the future. The cat immediately had a heart attack. Damn, that kind of dangerous place. Oh, it was a totem now, right? Then it was fine. Sure. The gem cat heaved a sigh of relief again. Colors were like liquid as they began to flow and fuse in the mirror. About a minute later, the color on the high-level smart chip began to fade, returning to the appearance of a transparent lens. At the same time, the light from the 3 lamps slowly disappeared. The gem cat watched eagerly. All right. Dean Hao chuckled and said, next, it's time to assemble it and the 100 transformation stone with an adaptability device. When Shiyu heard that, he nodded and took out the cube-like 100 transformation stone. The 100 transformation stone wasn't big, but it was made of 27 small cubes. It was like a Rubik's Cube, and the middle could be turned like the Rubik's Cube. Depending on the attributes, its color was also different. For example, the Wind Element 100 transformation stone was white with a weak green halo. As for the adaptability device, it was very similar to a high-level smart chip. If the high-level smart chip was like a hard transparent lens, then the adaptability device was a pile of transparent stickers. Although it looked simple, Shiyu and the others had used their supervision to carefully observe these mechanical materials. They realized that be it the smart chip or the adaptability device, there were countless dense codes on them. They were very complicated. The 100 transformation stone is easy to awaken, easy to assemble, and easy to modify. You only need to paste the adaptive device on both sides of the smart chip, insert it into the 100 transformation stone, and paste the adaptive device on the 54 small faces on the 6 sides of the 100 transformation stone. Then, you can complete the assembly. All right. Shiyu immediately followed Dean Hao's instructions. It was indeed simpler than he imagined. As expected of the most user-friendly mechanical material to newbie mechanics. Soon, Shiyu completed the operation. At the same time, it was unknown if it was the 100 transformation stone shining, the adaptive device shining, or the 3 reacting. A green light instantly enveloped the entire 100 transformation stone. It was very dazzling. Seeing this, Dean Hao touched his beard and said, "This way, it's completed." Next, as long as you make physical contact with it and enter a meditative state for more than a minute, you can establish a mental connection with it and set the initial command. After this is completed, it will be completely activated. It will complete the final evolution and become a real life form. In addition, because it's a high-level intelligent chip, it can have a certain understanding of the world when it just woke up. It has a certain amount of basic knowledge stored inside, like a professional encyclopedia. It can be seen as a super genius with a very good foundation. After that, no matter what you want to teach it, its acceptance can be very fast. Among them, there's also some basic mechanical knowledge. Even if you know nothing about the mechanical field, it can take better care of itself in the beginning. You don't have to worry about it getting sick. Of course, it knows a little about everything, but at the moment, it only knows a little about everything. For example, the knowledge in the archaeological and feeding directions is definitely not as rich as the knowledge recorded in your archaeological index and feeding index. Therefore, if you want to carry out subsequent upgrades to its data chip, you can also come to me. This will be faster than learning manually. However, although it has a certain understanding of the world, in essence, it's still a newborn. Its personality after birth is related to the initial command you designed. This process is also considered early education guidance. Dean Hao explained in detail to Shiyu. A moment later, Dean Hao finished speaking. Shiyu picked up the 100 transformation stone and thanked him. "Thank you, Dean Hao. I'll go back and do the final awakening now." "Ooh?" Dean Hao was stunned and nodded. "Meow?" The gem cat was also stunned. It looked at Shiyu and widened its eyes. "What initial command are you planning to set?" "Let it wake up before going back." Shiyu refused. How could he let a cat know about such a private matter? The gem cat was furious. It was certain that Shiyu was definitely up to no good. After returning to the dormitory of Ancient Capital University, Shiyu immediately entered the Mechanical Research Institute in the ruined space and shook off the curious gem cat. In his research institute, Shiyu sat on a stool and took out the 100 transformation stone. Woo! Woo! Yi! Mi! Nink! Chapter 32, Birth of a Mechanical Pet, 2. Chapter 32, Birth of a Mechanical Pet, 2. After Shiyu returned, 11 and the others surrounded the room and muttered and discussed. They all knew that Shiyu was creating a child inside. "What do you think?" After sitting and thinking for a while, Shiyu opened the door and looked at the pets. The reason why he returned was also to hear every pet's opinion. Shiyu's positioning of the 6th pet was an all-round machine. It could study and was proficient in battle. It would be best if it could study itself into a battle-type mecha that could accommodate multiple pets. At that time, he would sit in the driver's seat, Kai Tong would be a weapon, and it would evolve into a blue sea sprite. He could connect to the sea and the Susu with infinite energy points as energy. 11, Buggy, and Baby Ginseng would each do their own jobs. Wasn't this invincible? Therefore, when setting the initial command, if he could integrate some of 11 and the others' ideas, perhaps everyone could cooperate better in the future. Apart from that, in terms of daily life, Shiyu also felt that he lacked a butler and assistant-type pet. He could squeeze in this aspect. Now, it was equivalent to customization in games. However, in games, it was about appearance. This was about personality, behavior, and dreams. Woo! Outside the door, 11 was the first to give a suggestion when it saw Shiyu suddenly poke his head out. It hoped that the little machine's personality had elements such as hard work, self-discipline, and diligence. All right. Shiyu nodded. Of course, that was not a problem. Mechanics. As long as they didn't die, they just had to fight to the death. Woo! Not afraid to work? Buggy also gave a suggestion that was similar to 11's. However, the corners of Shiyu's mouth twitched. He kept feeling that something was wrong. Was it afraid that when it studied mechanical beasts with the little machine, the other party would squeeze him dry by lazing around? Yee! Knowledge changes fate. Baby Ginseng pushed its glasses. It heard that the new little machine was a genius. Heh, it looked like it had another assistant. The genius Ginseng looked up at the starry sky. It had already imagined himself wearing fighter armor and destroying a bin bear with each shot. Shiyu nodded. Of course. Machines that couldn't learn and research themselves weren't good machines. Am I? Gull. Kai Tong strongly suggested. Oh. Shiyu raised his eyebrows. Could this be set? It seemed like it could. But why did it have to be a girl? Was it trying to adjust the level of yin and yang in the team? Of course, this was even less of a problem. Even if Kai Tong didn't say it, he still planned to do it. The female voice definitely sounded better than the male voice. Ning. Susu's thoughts were the simplest. It hoped that the little machine liked pollution-free energy. After all, its hometown, the Rainbow Islands, was polluted by the power of the forbidden machinery of the 7 islands. Yes. Shiyu nodded. The 100 transformation stone, wind, used wind as the main energy source. In the future, when it fused with Susu, it could also use the energy of the sea as a power source with the Blue Sea Contractor of the Blue Sea Sprite. Wind power and water power were both pollution-free energy sources. Shiyu would naturally consider this. Otherwise, it would be bad if Susu and the little machine fought in the team. All right, you guys go train. After hearing the pet's thoughts, Shiyu chased them away and returned to the research institute. It began to build a mental connection with the mechanical pet and set up the initial command. In the bright room, Shiyu sat in anticipation. He played with the cube in his hand and closed his eyes to enter a meditative state. A minute later, Shiyu seemed to have entered the virtual online game space of a VR game. His mind was connected to the 100 transformation stones machinery, and his surroundings were like a cosmic tunnel. The mechanical Rubik's Cube filled the sky as it circled around him. Firstly, gender, female. Setting, butler, assistant, secretary. As for personality, it's hard-working, diligent, not afraid to work, likes to study, and has rock-like willpower. It has a very strong sense of responsibility for work and missions. Shiyu set it for a few minutes. Treat 11, Buggy, Baby Ginseng, Kai Tong, Susu as companions. Admire and worship the most handsome and outstanding creator Shiyu in the world as an idol. Shiyu coughed dryly. The dream is, or rather, the main storyline is to become the most powerful all-purpose machine and assist Beast Tamer Shiyu and his companions in becoming stronger. Shiyu kept customizing the machinery in the spiritual space. The initial setting of the little machinery was being perfected bit by bit. In the room, Shiyu held the 100 transformation stone and muttered. Outside the house, 11 and the others looked at each other. Why didn't they come out yet? Obviously, none of them went to train. They were all waiting for the results. After a long time. Completed. After customizing for a long time, Shiyu finally exited the mental connection state. At this moment, the high-level smart chip was completely activated. The 9 squares on one of the 6 sides of the 100 transformation stone directly transformed into a smooth mirror, just like a cell phone screen. At the same time, because it was a high-level smart chip with a human language, the 100 transformation stone directly said its first words in a human voice. At this moment, the 100 transformation stone machine was like a smartphone. One side of the screen lit up, and a virtual profile picture that was automatically synthesized according to the existing information and Shiyu's settings appeared on the cube screen. It was a girl about 10 years old with long white hair, a chibi type. Her long hair was tied into a ponytail at the back of her head and naturally hung down. There was a stray bouncy strand of hair at the top of its head. It slowly opened its eyes and let out a clear, experienced, and pleasant female voice. "Are you my master?" Chapter 433, Birth of a Mechanical Pet, 3. Chapter 433, Birth of a Mechanical Pet, 3. Ooh? Shiyu frowned and looked at the chibi on the screen. Why is it a chibi? You are my master? So be it if it's a chibi, but why is it still a pixelated version? Shiyu looked at the blurry profile picture on the screen that looked like countless small boxes and was speechless. Which era's high-level intelligence chip was this? You are my master? Teaching success rate, medium. However, what delighted Shiyu the most was that the success rate of super skills taught to high-level intelligent life forms was actually medium. It was medium at the start. Was it that good? You are my master. That's right, I'm your beast tamer. Shiyu revealed a thick smile. My master is the most handsome and outstanding beast tamer in the world. The new little machine let out a puzzled voice, making Shiyu's heart skip a beat. Was there a bug? Was he not handsome? Was he not outstanding? Even if he wasn't, it had to think so. Wait, or did it mean that even if the initial command was set, it had to be guided slowly? Dean Howe seemed to have said that high-level mechanical lives were different from ordinary machines. They weren't low-level machines that rigidly carried out procedures. They also had a certain level of self-thinking ability. The initial command only had a certain impact. If he wanted the mechanical life to believe it, he still had to have a long-lasting strengthening setting. It's me, Shiyu said firmly. I'm the most handsome and outstanding beast tamer in the world, Shiyu. The profile picture on the cube screen hesitated for a moment before nodding and choosing to believe it for the time being. High-level mechanical lives were actually similar to heroic spirit soul seeds. They would have a certain mental connection to the person who set up the initial command. Therefore, even if there was no contract for the time being, it would still treat Shiyu as its master. Of course, he still couldn't enjoy the various benefits of the contract for now. I'll give you a name next. Shiyu looked at the shining Rubik's Cube and said, well, let me think. In the future, you have to complete a research mission. Use a dream illusion of a Kirin fossil to transform yourself into a mechanical illusion god. This is also the evolution direction in the future. Then, let's find a name from this direction. Why don't I call you Rubik's Cube? The little machine's profile picture disappeared and turned into a pixel question mark. It could understand the meaning of the name, the meaning of the mission, and the meaning of evolution. Even for a divine beast like the Kirin, its basic information had simple records. It knew that this was an auspicious divine beast from the mythical era. In short, it could understand every word Shiyu said, but after connecting them, it didn't understand why its name had become Rubik's Cube. Well, it does seem to be all right. It's so difficult. Maybe I can call you Lin directly? In the myths on Earth, the male Kirin, Chalene, was known as Chi, and the female Chalene was known as the Lin. It was similar to the male phoenix and the female phoenix being called Feng and Huang respectively. Although there was no such thing in the phoenix race in the mythical system of Planet Blue, Shiyu still followed this saying and studied names for the virtual assistant. Not good. The name doesn't sound like a girl's. The little machine? Wait, why not, Yao Guang? Shiyu fell into deep thought. The light of the Big Dipper represented auspiciousness, and the Kirin was also an auspicious beast. Moreover, this name felt pretty compatible with a mechanical life form. Wait, after pronouncing it carefully, Shiyu felt that this name was a little like a villain. It was not intimate. It gave people the feeling that it would kill its master and destroy the planet. It was not auspicious at all. The profile picture in the cube said seriously, "Master, please think carefully." "Forget it, then let's call you Ling," changing the word Lin, Shiyu said. "Ling, be serious. Treat your work seriously. When you become a mecha later, it's best if you're also majestic." The profile picture was silent for a moment before accepting it silently again. It looked at Shiyu and then outside the room. After a moment of silence, it said, "From today onwards, I will set strict learning and training missions for Master and your pets. Now, I'm gathering basic information. Master, how long do you meditate every day?" Meditation? If I'm free, I meditate a little. If not, I play. Everything will depend on fate. We'll see if we're free that day. Ling. According to scientific research, the best meditation time for a beast tamer every day is 8 hours, so in order to let Master sign a contract with me as soon as possible, you have to maintain a strict 8 hours of meditation time every day. Shiyu had a strange expression. Wait a minute, did something go wrong when setting the initial command? Why was it related to his own work? I'll formulate a training plan as soon as possible. Next, I want to collect the daily training of my companions. With that said, it wanted to go out and find 11 and the others. No hurry, no hurry. No, it would be my fault for wasting too much time. Shiyu looked at the magic cube that had turned around like a confused little shark and looked at the ceiling. He kept feeling that something was wrong with the design this time. It seemed like he had designed a troublesome kid. How could he slack off now? Was there a need to be so serious? In the outside world. As the mechanical life came out, 11, Buggy, Baby Ginseng, Kai Tong, and Susu immediately surrounded it with curiosity. At the same time, Mechanical Ling also observed its companions in the settings seriously. Iron-eating beast. Mid-level transcendent race. Unknown butterfly, presumed to be bug type. Ginseng baby, high-level transcendent race. Unknown spiritual body, probably undead type. Water slime, high-level transcendent race. Its main mission was to help its master and companions become stronger. In addition, it was hard-working, diligent, not afraid to work, and had rock-like willpower. It had a very strong sense of responsibility for its work and missions. Therefore, it immediately asked about 11 and the others' current training missions, wanting to formulate a more detailed and scientific training plan for them. It thought it could do it well. The moment it saw its companions, the basic information of Mechanical Ling quickly arranged and assembled a theoretically scientific training plan. Woo! Woo! In the face of their new companions' questions, 11 and the others naturally answered seriously. Woo woo woo! It's the willpower training stage now. I have to turn into a young form and swim in the volcano, jumping down from a height of 10,000 meters. Woo! Woo! Recently, I've been talking to the generations of dragon gods in Dragon Palace City in my dreams, putting together their racial merits and sticking them to myself. Yee! I've been researching the concept of samsara and a reincarnation recently. For the time fruit, I wonder if it is possible to summon the power of a reincarnation life form's previous life. Shiyu followed closely behind, but he was still a little late. In the outside world, the mechanical screen had already blurred. The expression on the profile picture had become at blurred eyes, as if its thinking was a little overloaded. Beside it, 11 and the others looked panicked. It only explained the daily training situation. How did it become like this? Link analysis failed. Restart. Restart. Shiyu? It was better to increase Ling's intelligence first. At the current intelligence level, it was probably very difficult to understand 11 and the others' daily behavior logic. Forget about researching epic missions like mechanical phantom beasts and fused mechas, even newbie missions would probably be very difficult to complete now. Name Ling. Attributes, machinery, wind. Race level, high level monarch. Level of growth, level 1 awakening. Race skill, 100 transformations, advanced intelligence, wind element control. Shiyu touched it twice. Teaching successful. Advanced intelligence, initiate, has been upgraded to advanced intelligence, proficient. At this moment, Ling's gaze instantly became a little more intelligent, but after sensing the upgrade of his intelligence, it was still more confused. I can't understand. Seeing the dumb mechanical Ling, 11 and the other pets shook their heads. Mechanical lives weren't very smart either. Was this really a genius? Chapter 434, A Master, Increase Points. Chapter 434, A Master, Increase Points. In Ling's understanding, as a mechanical life form, with high-level intelligence skills as an example, there were only two ways to increase the level of this skill. First, increase intelligence through continuous self-learning. Second, use other top-grade mechanical materials to upgrade the smart chip. The former required a lot of time, while the latter needed rarer mechanical materials and high-level mechanical skills. However, Ling shockingly discovered that his master had only touched it twice before his intelligence level increased. This, it couldn't understand at all. At the same time, what was even more incomprehensible was the daily training reported to it by its master's pet, its other companions. It completely didn't match the information it had analyzed. A ginseng baby should have obediently strengthened its life force and earth element affinity. With this training mission as the core, it should strive to evolve into a ginseng fruit tree with wood and earth attributes and stronger life force as soon as possible. This was the scientific training route. In the end, what was the concept of samsara and reincarnation? What was the time fruit? Mechanical Ling realized that it couldn't understand what its companion was saying at all. Under its forced analysis, it even almost got a fever and fell sick. Baby Ginseng, heal me? Shiyu's weak voice came from the side. Under the chaotic gaze of Mechanical Ling, its high-level intelligence level went from entry level to expert level. At this moment, Ling's profile picture was still staring at Baby Ginseng and Shiyu in confusion. It still didn't understand the mechanism of this operation. This was because Shiyu and Baby Ginseng's combination skill of adding points and nourishing didn't look like a mechanic's normal upgrade of a mechanical life form. I still have to continue. Beside him, the voices of Shiyu and Baby Ginseng could be heard. He added more points and continued. Ling still didn't look very smart. Yi! Soon, as the level of the high-level intelligence began to increase from expert level to perfect level, Mechanical Ling was finally not so confused. Gradually, it had some clear understanding. Ling said, "Oh, Master, you are cheated?" Shiyu and Baby Ginseng paused. It couldn't be said to be a mistake. This is called adding points. You can understand it as my second beast-taming talent. Second? Beast-taming talent? I can't understand. It's all right, understand slowly. Wait. I want to check if there are any safety hazards first, Ling said nervously. This sudden upgrade made it feel uneasy. It stopped him from adding points. Beside it, 11 silently liked it. Buggy, Kai Tong, and Susu looked at each other. As for hidden dangers, maybe addiction? However, for a new partner to be able to calmly analyze a problem just after birth, to a certain extent, it was still impressive. All right, we can rest too. Shiyu and Baby Ginseng panted. Yi? Next, Shiyu prepared to upgrade Ling's 100 transformations and high-level intelligence points. This way, Ling could use the 100 transformations to create various mechanical tools to do research and upgrade itself. At the same time, it could also obtain better learning and analysis abilities to assist 11 and the others in training. A moment later, Ling didn't seem to find anything wrong. Moreover, through self-analysis, it discovered that the so-called additional points were all beneficial. There was no disadvantage. This shocked Ling. On the cube screen, Ling hesitated for a moment and raised its head slightly. After confusion, thinking, and analysis, it came to the final conclusion. It looked at its mechanic in admiration and worship. Master, add points. It admitted that it had misjudged previously. Its master was indeed very outstanding. Now, it could add points and add points. Only by quickly increasing its intelligence could it better formulate a strengthening plan for its master and companions. Shiyu, 11, Buggy, Baby Ginseng, and the others. Wu. At the same time, seeing that their new teammate had finally become smart and said, Beast Tamer, increase points. The 5 little ones cheered loudly to welcome their new teammate into the team. In the next 2 days, Shiyu began his seclusion life again. Hard work and recuperation coexisted. Ling's skill data was also reborn. Name Ling. Level of growth, Transcendent. Race skill, 100 transformations, Transcendent +1, Advanced Intelligence, Transcendent +2, Wind Element Control, Initiate. Under Shiyu's points, Ling's 100 transformations and high-level intelligence quickly reached Transcendent and advanced to the maximum level. Apart from 100 transformations and high-level intelligence, Shiyu had nothing else. He wanted to activate the loading skill first and experience the feeling of fusing with machinery, but the problem was that he couldn't. He had replicated a total of 3 mechanical skills from Legend Xiao Shuang's Blackwing Demon God, which were Divine Net, Loading, and Machinery Space. Among them, only the super skill Divine Net was in a teachable state. As for Loading and Machinery Space, they both showed insufficient compatibility and couldn't be taught. Shiyu roughly understood this. Mechanics might have a higher compatibility requirement for skills. If he didn't have the corresponding machinery equipment, it would be very difficult to learn the corresponding mechanical skills. If Shiyu wanted to teach Ling the 2 skills of Loading and Machinery Space, he had to further upgrade Ling's own race. He needed to upgrade the corresponding mechanical parts. Chapter 35, Master, Increase Points, 1. Chapter 35, Master, Increase Points, 1. On the contrary, the top-notch intelligence, the Divine Network, was described as only splitting into multiple intelligent brain areas to form a complicated neural network system. There was no need to upgrade the configuration. It just needed to upgrade through points on the existing high-level intelligence chips. Shiyu didn't find this discovery troublesome. When Ling's intelligence increased, he would just have to provide the materials and let Ling upgrade itself. It had to be said that after raising the 100 transformations and high-level intelligence, the change in Ling was very big. It was so big that Shiyu could feel good now. Ling. In the ruin space, Shiyu held the cube. Under Shiyu's command, the cube in his hand changed quickly with a conflicted expression. In less than a second, it turned into a multi-barrel rotating green machine gun that was held in Shiyu's hand. Black and green, very cool. In the next moment, endless wind elements gathered. As Shiyu pressed the switch, the muzzle of the machine gun began to produce air bullets compressed by the wind element. Tut-tut-tut. A minute later, nearly 10,000 bullets hit the mountain in front of them, turning the entire mountain into a hole. This wasn't the end. Shiyu was having a lot of fun. Master, I think this is meaningless. Just change. In the next moment, Ling turned into a silver sniper cannon. Shiyu held it in front of him. As the wind elemental power condensed and aimed, with a boom, a single target stronger wind pressure cannonball directly turned the small mountain in front of him into powder. Machine guns, sniper cannons, and mechanical swords. At this moment, Ling, who had transcendent level 100 transformations and high-level intelligence, could quickly transform. Of course, it was a pity that at the moment, it was only shapeless. Apart from being able to use the different uses of the wind element control better, different forms had no other functions. In other words, it was still just for show. If he wanted to really upgrade these forms into strategic trump card forms, he had to gather mechanical materials around these forms and upgrade them in a targeted manner. For example, in the form of a sniper rifle, if it was equipped with abilities such as vital lock-on, full-level supervision, loading fusion, and energy solidification, Shiyu could use the sniper rifle to greater effect. From 800 miles away, it wasn't a big problem for him to kill an enemy above his level with one shot. Of course, these were all just for fun. The most important thing was still that mecha formed with the most comprehensive ability. However, this form was very difficult to complete with Ling's current ability. It wasn't that its intelligence level and 100 transformations level weren't enough, but that its main body was only 100 transformation stone. Without enough growth level, it didn't have enough volume to break down and assemble into a mecha. This was also the most difficult thing about the 100 transformations machine. If it wanted to assemble into a larger mechanical life form, it needed to continue fusing more 100 transformation stones. It was all small money. Of course, this difficulty was actually easy to solve on Shiyu's side because he could teach Ling its clone and demultiplication skills. Therefore, as long as it was given the blueprint, it could still turn itself into a mecha after a certain amount of time. However, the performance of this mecha was different. The mecha that was forcefully created, be it battle power or endurance, was definitely much more inefficient and mismatched than a comprehensive mecha like Legend Xiao Shuang's, which was completely made of real 100 transformation stones. But it didn't matter if the configuration was perfect or not. It didn't matter if it didn't have special abilities. It didn't matter if it changed into an empty shell. At the moment, being handsome was enough. As for how to become handsome and useful, that was a question that Ling should consider itself. Otherwise, wouldn't it be even more meaningless for its high-level intelligence to be added so high? Alright, today's gun test is over. Let's go back and continue to increase points. A few days later, Ling's 100 transformations and high-level intelligence were all maxed out by Shiyu. At this moment, the 100 transformation skill had already reached an extremely exaggerated level. In terms of decomposition, it could already break the cube-sized body into countless super small cubes that couldn't be seen with the naked eye. Shiyu didn't know if it had reached the atomic level. In any case, even with supervision, it was very difficult to determine the number of bodies after Ling's decomposition. As for the combination ability, it corresponded to the decomposition ability. It could control these countless small cubes at the same time and quickly assemble new objects. With the current precision level, the new machinery it turned into was definitely one of the best among mechanical lives. It belonged to the type with a very strong foundation. In the future, after adding other mechanical materials to upgrade, with this precision as the foundation, it would be very difficult for flaws and loopholes to appear. As for how strong a max-level high-level intelligence was, Shiyu couldn't judge. In any case, all the mechanical equipment he had bought previously and placed in the Mechanical Research Institute could already be quickly disassembled and quickly assembled. He was like a legendary mechanic. Moreover, from Ling's calm appearance, it probably already had some clues about the Machinery Phantom Beast plan and the Mecha plan. Outside the Mechanical Research Institute, Mechanical Lin that was already in the posture of a big boss floated in the air. It looked at the mechanical tyrant dragon running in the dragon circle and said, "Leave it to me. I'll try to complete the Mechanical Phantom Beast plan in 3 months. As for the Fusion Mecha plan and the Mythical Phantom Mechanical plan, it might be after this." Chapter for 36, Master, Increase Points, 2. Chapter for 36, Master, Increase Points, 2. Why 3 months? Shiyu asked. Because 3 months later is the start of the new mechanical conference in Donghuang. If you can successfully develop an ancient phantom machine, Master can consider whether to participate in this conference. If you can win the championship, it will be very helpful in researching the more difficult fusion mecha and a mythical seed machinery. Ling analyzed. The mechanical conference is the same as the feeding conference and the National League. There are records in my initial information, but Master, you didn't notice. Machinery conference? Shiyu was stunned. Then, his expression gradually became happy. There's such a conference? All the best. Let's take the championship back first. At that time, we'll get a mechanical index of the 4th Bureau. It'll indeed be easier for you to level up yourself. In his archaeological index and feeding index, there was various high-end archaeological information about Dong Huang. In theory, the fourth index should have mechanical information, right? Yes. Ling nodded. In Ling's current research difficulty judgment, the ancient mechanical phantom beast was the easiest to study. The difficulty of the entire team's fused mecha followed closely behind. The hardest was to modify himself into a mythical phantom beast machinery. I'll work hard, but please meditate hard, Master. If you can contract me, my learning, calculations, and research ability can still increase again, Ling urged. All right. Tell me if you have any needs in mechanical materials and mechanical knowledge. I'll help you buy materials and find teaching materials, Shi Yu said. All right. At the moment, the basic mechanical theory knowledge is enough. All mechanical systems can't do without the foundation. There shouldn't be any mechanical theory information about mechanical phantom beasts now, so there's not much need for other mechanical knowledge at the moment. What I need to do now is to design a new mechanical system, but during this period, I might need the help of 11, Buggy, Baby Ginseng, Kai Tong, and Susu. After reaching the maximum level of high-level intelligence and being updated on 11 and the others' information, Ling no longer found 11 and the others' situation that difficult to understand. Among them, 11 was the armory, the illusions of Buggy, Baby Ginseng's time fruit and the fruit of life, Kai Tong's soul exchange ability, and Susu's mental cleansing ability. Ling felt that they might be of help during the research of the mechanical tyrant dragon, so it needed the support of its teammates. All right. At this moment, Shi Yu was very relieved. Sure. The mechanical phantom beast project could finally make progress. If it went smoothly in 3 months, it might even get first place. Moreover, he didn't have to worry about it. Great. He should have done this long ago. It looked like his capitalist skills had yet to reach Dao proficiency. Master, it's time to meditate. Shi Yu, __. Principal Phone is looking for me for something. Meditate. I'll definitely do it tomorrow. The mission list has been updated. Today's meditation mission has been reasonably assigned to the next 3 working days. Shi Yu, Principal Phone was indeed looking for Shi Yu. To be precise, Principal Phone and the Gem Cat were looking for Shi Yu. Sigh, Teacher Ying, why do I feel that this is a little inappropriate? Principal Phone looked old. At the moment, Ancient Capital University only had 2 legendary resources. They were the school's cornerstone treasures. This time, the Gem Cat applied with the might of a new totem and its old veteran experience. With Principal Phone and the Totem Cat working together, their right to speak was indeed not something the core higher-ups of Ancient Capital University could compare to. With one slap, the assets of Ancient Capital University were all gone. How could that be? Those 2 legendary resources are useless. Resources are good resources only when used. When Shi Yu and Qingyi grow up, it's all worth it, the Gem Cat said confidently. Principal Phone had a strange expression. As a guardian overlord, this cat directly entered Ancient Capital University right after breaking through. There was no one else. However, after being bewitched by the Gem Cat, Principal Phone still subconsciously stood on the Gem Cat's side. The reason was very simple. The Gem Cat was applying for legendary resources for Shi Yu and Lu Qingyi, the 2 most outstanding students of Ancient Capital University in recent decades. Principal Phone also thought quite highly of these 2, so he supported them. Otherwise, just him and the Gem Cat alone definitely couldn't decide the ownership of the school's cornerstone treasure. Of course, the most important factor was that the Gem Cat had advanced to a totem. Not to mention 2 legendary resources, even 5 of them couldn't compare to a totem in its peak state. Cough, this is all for the good of Ancient Capital University, the Gem Cat confirmed again. It wouldn't say that this was the best way to protect its gems. However, it was indeed useless to just collect these legendary resources. It was better to give them to new generation beast tamers with potential. At the start, Ancient Capital University collected a total of 3 legendary resources. The three legendary resources came from the mystic realm of the undead battlefield. 100 years ago, under the dual effects of the undying Dark Phoenix rampage and the appearance of the mystic realm in the Totem era, an undead disaster occurred. Although this disaster caused huge losses to the ancient capital also obtained countless treasures in the mystic realm. These three legendary resources were part of the treasures obtained by the ancient capital university. One of the undead gemstones was used by the gem cat itself. It was a waste. The remaining two were also legendary resources of the undead element. The gem cat had calculated them and planned to hand one of them to Shiyu. In its opinion, this resource was very suitable for Shiyu's little Kai Tong. It would definitely be useful. Name: Bone Sword. Attributes: Undead. Level: Level 9, Legendary level. Introduction: The Sword of the Dead can revive the life it killed in the form of an undead and control its will. Chapter 37, Another Great Harvest and Shiyu's Ambition. Chapter 37, Another Great Harvest and Shiyu's Ambition. Ancient Capital University. In a classic courtyard. This was Principal Feng's residence. At this moment, Principal Feng and the gem cat were leisurely drinking hot tea. Soon, a tired figure rushed over. Principal Feng: Bone sword, bone sword, bone sword, let me see. After Shiyu arrived, he asked Principal Feng and the gem cat in anticipation. His own people were more reliable after all. Legendary level resources were applied for just like that. Unlike the Dong Huang Association, who were slow like snails. Good thing he had made so much news. Yes, I can't lose it. Principal Feng smiled. At the side, the gem cat was elegant and calm. Where's little Kai Tong? The legendary undead resources this time were very useful to little Kai Tong. Shiyu said calmly, What Kai Tong? How can I give it to it directly? When it gets first place in the team competition, I'll give it to it. How can you get the bone sword without experiencing storms? Principal Feng and the gem cat. It didn't know if it was a good thing or unlucky to be his pet. When beast tamers obtained legendary level resources, they couldn't wait to use them immediately to strengthen their pets. But this guy was treating it as a reward? Wait, what was the team competition? This guy was not human anymore. In any case, my level isn't high enough now. I can't maximize the effect of the legendary resource even if I use it, Shiyu said. Generally speaking, legendary resources were used when monarchs broke through to the overlord level, when overlords broke through to the totem level, or when totems strengthened themselves. Under the restriction of Shiyu's spatial level, even if Kai Tong's growth level was strengthened by legendary resources, it was impossible for it to break through again. He definitely had to use it at the right time. It's all right, the gem cat said. I know your level is low. The bone sword isn't a traditional strengthening type resource. You can use it at any time. It's considered a strengthening and special fusion resource. Firstly, it has the ability to revive and control the lives it kills in the form of undead. It can be said that it's an ability that can help other lives change their race. Of course, after becoming an undead, most of them will have remnant souls, similar to the dragon remnant soul of your classmate, Yu Shu. Their racial abilities will definitely decrease. However, it's also an excellent soul container. Although it can only store spiritual bodies inside, it shouldn't be a problem to store dozens or millions of them. Be it the undead it creates or other undead, as long as they enter the bone sword, they will subtly strengthen the bone sword. This is permanent strengthening. Especially through the possession skill, the effect will be better. The higher the level of the possession skill, the better the strengthening effect. Therefore, in theory, it can not only be used as a strengthening type resource to strengthen undead creatures, but it can also be like a special type resource, allowing pets to obtain some new abilities. If it completely absorbs the power of the bone sword, it might be able to master its ability to create undead races. Most importantly, it's different from pure strengthening type resources. Strengthening is subtle. The effect isn't that fierce, and it won't be like common strengthening type resources where it can't stop and explode the user in an instant, the gem cat said. Well, that's about it. Ancient Capital University has two legendary resources. One is the Bone Sword, and the other is a traditional strengthening type resource. Among them, the effect of the Bone Sword is especially suitable for you and Kai Tong. Principal Feng sighed. Didn't it master the Spirit Release skill? The Spirit Release skill is only effective against formed undead lives. It's useless to kill other types of lives, but if we have the Bone Sword. When your ginseng baby cripples a few more overlords one day and uses the Bone Sword to stab them, they will become undead puppets. Not only can they be fighters, but they can also be nutrients for its Spirit Release. Shiyu was stunned. Good heavens, they had already calculated it. Recycling. If there was such a good thing, they should have taken it out earlier. Also, if you're desperate one day and your body suffers an incurable injury, your soul will be fine. Take the Bone Sword and stab yourself. Perhaps you can also die in the form of a soul. Although human spiritual bodies are the easiest to disappear, you should still have a few years of consciousness. It's better to live than to die. The Gem Cat chuckled. Shiyu? Where's the Bone Sword? Here. The Gem Cat teleported a black box over and opened it. A small white sword that looked like a fruit knife appeared in front of Shiyu. The Bone Sword was smaller than Shiyu imagined. It was clearly a dagger about the size of a mini Kai Tong. How could this be called a sword? What kind of bone is this? The Bone Sword was quite beautiful, like white jade, but after Shiyu took a look, the feed index didn't react at all. He couldn't analyze its material. Even the material of General Mu Huain's Gemini silver armor could be detected in an instant by the feeding index, but this one didn't react. I'm not sure, but it should be made of the bones of a demigod-level totem. Principal Feng stroked his beard and said, the mystic realm that this was obtained from came from the totem era. The Dragon Ball I obtained, which is the one Buggy used, was also obtained from the derived mystic realm of this mystic realm, the Gem Cat said. Shiyu nodded. The Totem Era. Although the beast tamer culture of the Totem Era might not necessarily be as strong as the ones from the beast taming era, the time span of the Totem Era was really too long. In this long period of time, more than 100 dragon gods had changed in Dragon Palace City. It was obvious that there were also many beast tamers among humans. Chapter 38, Another Great Harvest and Shiyu's Ambition, 1. Chapter 38, Another Great Harvest and Shiyu's Ambition, 1. Shiyu recalled the owner of the Awakening Mirror, Yu Maiden. The other party was undoubtedly also an expert of the Totem Era. Stealing the beast-taming talent of other beast-tamers was too much. Although he was curious about the Totem Era, Shiyu was also quite glad. Fortunately, he didn't transmigrate to the Totem Era at the start and instead transmigrated to the modern era. Otherwise, his days would be bitter. He wouldn't even be able to play with his cell phone, let alone his mecha. Thank you. Shiyu put away the Bone Sword and laughed. Ancient Capital University will always be my home. Principal Feng and the Gem Cat sighed. This was what it felt like to be a mother. Although it's about the same for me, the Gem Cat muttered in its heart. Principal Feng, Teacher Ying, is there anything else? If not, I'll go meditate first. It was better to do the meditation mission today. Otherwise, it would be even more uncomfortable to distribute it tomorrow and the day after. Yes, don't worry. There's still a bunch of things. Principal Feng rubbed his head and said, there are still a few things for you. He took out 2 identification documents and a data chip from his ruined space. Official member ID of the First Bureau. The data chip of the First Index. Although the legendary resources have yet to be approved, you're already a member of the First Bureau. The Gem Cat raised its head. If one befriended a Totem Guardian and had the ability to make a Totem Guardian take action, could enter the First Bureau. Now, it was basically no problem for Shiyu to let Ice Dragon and Gem Cat take action, so he naturally obtained the documents for the First Bureau. Shiyu was already immune to the handsome photos on the documents. At this moment, he was more curious about the difference between the data chip of the First Bureau and the information contained in the Third and 11th Bureau. The third Bureau's feed index recorded various cultivation information. Bureau 11's index recorded various archaeological information. Then, what about the first Bureau? Could it be that various secret skills are recorded on this? Shiyu picked up the chip in deep thought. How is that possible? Principal Feng said. On this, it records the information on the known totem-level creatures in the world gathered by Dong Huang. Be it friend or foe, including the totems in the totem area, the totem information of the other 6 countries can be found. Because generally speaking, when it's up to the members of the first Bureau, the incident will basically involve totems. Shiyu nodded. So that was the case. However, it didn't feel as useful as the 3rd and 11th index. Forget it, with this, he would know which totem was easy to bully in the future. He would have to avoid whichever totem he saw. It was all right. What's this? Shiyu looked at another certificate curiously. He picked it up and took a look. So it was an identification card from the Environmental Protection Department. Boring. This certificate is special. Unlike the one General Xiao Qin and the others have obtained, the rights they can exercise are equivalent to the members of the other 13 divisions of Dong Huang. They can prioritize using and developing ocean resources. If necessary, they can mobilize the legendary power of the Navy, the Navy's military weapon. Of course, you're the only one who has this certificate at the moment. As for whether the Marine Environmental Protection Department can become Bureau 14 of Dong Huang, it depends on the subsequent development. After all, you're the only one qualified to have this certificate. It's very difficult to establish Bureau 14 alone. Principal Feng had a strange expression. There was no one else. Shiyu now had a bunch of titles. He was afraid just looking at him. Was he trying to gather Bureau 14 documents and summon a mechanical legend? This is good. Shiyu's eyes lit up as he put away his Environmental Protection Department identification documents. In the next moment, he was stunned. There's more? There's more. Principal Feng continued to take out 3 resources. Although the legendary resources have yet to be approved, these few water element resources came with the Environmental Protection Department documents. Didn't you say last time that you wanted high-quality water element resources for the Blue Sea Sprite to use? This is the first batch selected to be suitable. Shiyu immediately looked over. They were respectively Level 2, Level 6, and Level 7 resources. Although the energy levels were different, the most important thing was their quality. Their predecessors were all legendary-level resources. Principal Feng pointed at one of the water-blue elemental cores and said, during a certain period in ancient times, because of the eruption of an underwater volcano, the Eastern Hemisphere encountered an unprecedented super tsunami. Moreover, the tsunami obtained life and became an elemental life form. It was born as a totem. At that time, it wreaked havoc in the east, but just as it was about to encounter the Dong Huang continent, it was jointly killed by land creatures. This is its elemental core. Because it contains a powerful wave power, it's also called the Sea Wave Stone. However, because it's been too long, many creatures might have fought and used the Sea Wave Stone. Now, its energy level has fallen to Level 2. However, although it no longer contains powerful water element power, the branded Wave Super Profundity is worth comprehending for water element pets. Then, Principal Feng continued to point at another fist-sized dark blue meteorite and said, Water Element Planet. In ancient times, a meteorite containing water element power fell on Blue Planet. Generally speaking, when a meteorite falls here, unless it's especially large, it's very rare for it to pass the high-temperature test of the atmosphere. However, this water element meteorite is very special. It's not big, but due to its special structure, it's not afraid of high temperatures and successfully fell in a certain place in Dong Huang. It's also very special. In the beginning, it was a legendary-level resource. It fell to Level 6 because of time. Its effect is to contain the power of a star. When you hold this meteorite, the water-type pet can feel the natural power of the water type from outer space. It's very magical. Chapter 39, Another Great Harvest and Show Why Use Ambition, 2. Chapter 39, Another Great Harvest and Shiyu's Ambition, 2. The last level 7 water drop is called the Memory Crystal. It's a late special water element and time element totem of our Dong Huang. It's a tool that stores the control experience of the transcendent water element power. At the start, it was also a legendary resource, but because it was used many times, most of the skill experience has been digested. There's not much skill experience left, and the energy level naturally fell. But even so, it's still a rare treasure for water element life forms below the Overlord level. One can quickly increase the proficiency of water element skills while carrying the Memory Crystal. Under the lead of the Memory Crystal, the skill proficiency of the Blue Sea Sprite's reincarnation will increase very quickly. At that time, under the lead of the skill level, it's not difficult to break through to the Overlord level. This is the most suitable resource for the current Blue Sea Sprite reincarnation. In fact, there are many water element resources in the National Resource Bank. You can also search through the Third Bureau's index. If the Environmental Protection Bureau has any special needs, you can satisfy them later, Principal Feng said. For example, when the limit is close to the Overlord level, water element legendary resources. It should be possible. The Memory Crystal guaranteed the stable growth of the Blue Sea Sprite reincarnation. Communicating with the power of the water outside the skies was a special power that the Blue Sea Sprite had never possessed when it was alive. The Sea Wave Stone guaranteed the battle skills of the Blue Sea Sprite reincarnation. In the eyes of the Dong Huang Association, these 3 low-level legendary-level resources could turn the Blue Sea Sprite reincarnation into a powerful overlord. It was not a problem. As long as the Blue Sea Sprite needed true legendary resources, the Dong Huang Association wouldn't be stingy. In the eyes of the Dong Huang Association, quickly nurturing Susu to the Overlord level and accepting the Blue Sea Sprite inheritance was the most important thing. Of course, they didn't dare to help it grow too much. It wasn't a good thing to level up too quickly. This way, they wouldn't be able to befriend the Blue Sea Sprite in time. Shiyu and the Blue Sea Sprite reincarnation had been together for too short a time, and it wasn't conducive to establishing bonds. The Dong Huang Association still wanted stability. All right. Shiyu was satisfied. Not bad. Although this Susu could use and involve itself in water elemental control, it was indeed not proficient. The power of a star? That was even less involved. As for the Memory Crystal, to be honest, it was the one Shiyu was the most interested in. It wasn't because it might save Shiyu the effort of adding some water element control skills a few times. Instead, it was created by time element skills. What if Susu mastered a similar ability after swallowing it? What a harvest! Beside him, the gem cat's face was filled with envy. Damn it, damn it, damn it! This damn tycoon, Shiyu, was countless times richer than it. He even pretended to be poor all day. It's all right, it's all right. Shiyu chuckled. Also, Principal Feng wasn't stopping. There's more? Shiyu was stunned. This is dispensable to you. It doesn't mean much. Principal Feng took out another license. Top-notch Beast Tamer license, top-notch master. The requirement is that the Beast Tamer's battle power can temporarily resist Overlord-level creatures. Apart from being able to undergo the assessment at the Association's headquarters, some proven battle results can also be used as the assessment judging criteria. Because of your performance in the National League, the Dong Huang Association's headquarters directly issued you a top-notch master license, and you're exempted from the advancement assessment. Our ancient capital doesn't have the right to issue the top assessment. It's easier now. You don't have to take the assessment in the capital anymore. Principal Feng chuckled and said, speaking of which, because we've presided over your 3 assessments, as well as the fact his daughters made some achievements, our ancient capital association's Master Chu Jie seems to have also received a promotion opportunity from the capital. He can go to the capital headquarters to work at any time. I wonder if he'll go. The opportunity to be assigned to Overlord-level colleagues and teammates to become a legendary examiner for top-notch masters and legendary beast tamers is rare. Shiyu had a strange expression. Master Chu Jie was going to be promoted to the headquarters. Pretty good. Unfortunately, he already had a top-notch license. There was no need to look for him for the assessment. Master Chu Jie has a daughter? Shi Yu suddenly discovered a blind spot. Forget it, it had nothing to do with him. Sorry to trouble you. After Shi Yu reaped his harvest, he thanked Principal Feng. Then, he asked carefully, this time, there shouldn't be anything left to attend to, right? This made him a little expectant. He hoped that there would be more things to do. Once something happened, resources and documents would come. Who could withstand it? No more. Principal Feng chuckled. Speaking of which, hasn't Senior Lu come out of seclusion yet? Shi Yu asked. Principal Feng was fine, but he had something to do. Ever since Lu Qingyi decided to participate in the sequence battle, she had started to enter seclusion to cultivate hard. She wanted to break through to the legendary level and had yet to come out. Senior Lu still didn't know that Shi Yu had blown up 2 overlords and become the national champion. The cultivation location was a legendary ruined space left behind by a legendary beast tamer from the totem era that Lu Qingyi had obtained herself. Shi Yu was very envious. In short, Shi Yu missed Senior Lu after not seeing her for so long. The mythical revival skill that Senior Lu had obtained from archaeology was known as the strongest grade super skill. At first, Shi Yu didn't mind, but as he wanted to study the mythical beast Kirin fossil, Shi Yu wondered if this skill could help in his research. He planned to replicate it and see if he could teach it to Ling. Chapter 40, Another Great Harvest and Shi Yu's Ambition, 3. Chapter 40, Another Great Harvest and Shi Yu's Ambition, 3. Qingyi, not yet. Principal Feng shook his head and said, we have to wait for her to come out before giving her that legendary resource. After strengthening that courtyard sprite, maybe it can help her. Among the 6 pets Lu Qingyi contracted, the newly contracted courtyard sprite didn't have the mythical revival skill. It was the weakest, but if it had the school treasure of Ancient Capital University, it might be able to become a short-term trump card. Why are you looking for Qingyi? Principal Feng asked in anticipation. Could it be that Shi Yu? Well, I feel that my strength is enough. I want to challenge Senior Lu. It's all right, it's all right. Aren't you in a hurry to leave? Hurry up and leave, Principal Feng said with a raise of his eyebrows. Tell me when Senior Lu leaves seclusion, Shi Yu said. He would defeat Senior Lu, replicate a skill, and increase his ranking in the wave ranking competition. He just didn't know if he could defeat her. After making a trip to Principal Feng, Shi Yu had a huge harvest of resources again. After returning, Shi Yu heaved a sigh of relief. He began to prepare the strengthening plan. For the sake of the sequence battle, Senior Lu was charging at the legendary level. That was because her beast taming space had already reached level 6. Her pet's strength was not weak either, and she even had the legendary ruined space to carry with her to assist in her cultivation. As for Shi Yu's strengthening plan, it had to be combined with his own situation. Next was summer break. He planned to take advantage of these 2 months to travel the entire Donghuang and go to various places to replicate some low-level top-notch skills. At the same time, he would upgrade some super skills. After returning, he would let the Gem Cat bring Kai Tong and Susu to the undead battlefield to train. At that time, he would also stay in Ancient Capital University and concentrate on meditation to break through to level 6 in the beast taming space. The skills to replicate, such as Baby Ginseng's Earth Escape and the strengthening buff skills chosen by Kai Tong, had to be replicated. Apart from that, Suso didn't need to replicate skills. It just needed to devour. However, a new batch of top-grade water element resources had just arrived. If it swallowed them, it would probably sleep for a long time. Also, Shi Yu was prepared to let Susu devour resources like the Ice Dragon Whiskers and the Ice Dragon Badge to prepare for teaching the Heavenly Frost Cold Energy skill. He hoped that after the trip ended, Susu could finish digesting it. Of course, 11 and Buggy weren't without benefits on this national trip. It could even be said that this national trip to replicate skills was prepared for 11 and Buggy. It was prepared to make up for their shortcomings. They were the core of this cultivation. For example, Shi Yu had carefully chosen for skills for 11. It needed to go to various places in Donghuang to find corresponding ferocious beasts to replicate. It might not necessarily be able to find them in the ancient capital. The 4 skills chosen for 11 were 3 high-level and 1 super-level. Reinforced Iron Bones, high-level skill, metal element. It can increase the physique by taking a beating. It is a slow accumulation and permanent increase. The upper limit of the increase depends on the skill proficiency. Tempered Steel, high-level skill, metal element. It can obtain the ability to temper the body with fire. Using fire to strengthen the body is also a permanent increase, similar to the former. Overlord Body Armor, high-level skill, metal element. It can create a layer of armor. The armor can easily exceed the limit and accumulate damage, preventing external damage from affecting the pet's own movements. However, after the armor reaches the upper limit of its endurance, the damage will be applied to the pet in one go. Also, a super metal element skill that could transform the damage it suffered into vitality to recover from injuries. Shi Yu didn't know if he could successfully find these for skills, but he had to go. In his opinion, was the 9-Li Battle Beast strong? Strong. However, every skill of the 9-Li Battle Beast belonged to the extreme explosive type. It was too harmful to the body. Emperor Wu's body was not good as well. Apart from Yunan's incurable injuries, Shi Yu estimated that it was also related to the pile of self-mutilating skills of the 9-Li Battle Beast. Zhong Xian had also mentioned this. Giant Transformation, Inner Power, Impregnable, and Lightning Rod could easily overload one's body. Even skills like Space Quake and the Spatial Rebound would put a certain burden on the 9-Li Battle Beast that wasn't spatial element in the first place. As for the Iron-Eating Beasts, they weren't the kind of race that was good at healing skills. Although they were ruthless, they were also injured. Therefore, Shi Yu prepared to nurture a completely different 9-Li Battle Beast. It could transform the damage it suffered into vitality, a ferocious panda king with the strongest physique. Of course, the premise was that he could successfully find the super rare super skill recorded in the index. This way, it was easy for 11 to surpass Emperor Wu's Iron-Eating Beast. As for Buggy, to be honest, although it had the imagination skill to make up for its racial shortcomings and increase its endurance, Shi Yu felt that it was not enough. Therefore, Shi Yu targeted a bug-type super skill. Ultimate Absorption. This bug element super skill could absorb the enemy's life force and energy points through attack to recover its injuries and physical fitness. If Buggy could learn this skill and form a combination skill of Ultimate Absorption, an illusionary phantom with the support of high proficiency. In that case, under the configuration of its instant transmission and ethereal concealment, Buggy could let the endless illusions attack the enemy. At the same time, it could also recover its health and mana, allowing Buggy's racial advantage to be displayed. If everything went smoothly, even if 11, Buggy, and the others didn't reach the Overlord level, they would probably have the strength to resist the Overlord level for a short period of time. They would purely rely on various disgusting skills to fight head-on. This was Shi Yu's ambition. He wanted 11 and the others to be able to rely on their skill advantage to fight and crush overlords at the Monarch level. However, there were drawbacks to Shi Yu's cultivation of 11 and Buggy. It was easier for them to make the next team meeting even more complicated. There are a lot of places to go to replicate these skills, but it's just fine. I can also travel around Donghuang. After transmigrating for so long, I haven't been to many places, Shi Yu thought to himself. And before leaving, it was time for 11 to try absorbing the meteorite fragment. At the same time, as the National League ended and the vocation assessment approached, beast tamers from all over the country began to head to big cities with vocation assessment aptitude. Among them, countless genius rookies were gathered in the 9 first-level cities. At the ancient capital airport. On the flight from Wuling City to ancient capital, a beast tamer trainee walked down the plane. He took a deep breath and looked in the direction of ancient capital university. If Shi Yu were here, he would definitely be able to recognize this youth. It was surprisingly An Chang, who had given him his family heirloom, the awakening mirror. He was also the one who had successfully evolved the dragon carp into a sea dragon with Shi Yu's help. I wonder if I can see him, and Chang was nervous. After all, he was just a small figure, while Shi Yu. Although he knew that Shi Yu was very powerful, he didn't expect Shi Yu to be so powerful. He had seen the National League. Shi Yu was simply a god who had descended into the mortal world. This made Chang, who already regarded Shi Yu as his idol and benefactor, worship Shi Yu even more. Apart from participating in the vocation assessment and seeing the ancient capital university he was about to enter, Chang's main goal this time was to find Shi Yu.